I learned how to play basketball by watching an anime. My name is Johan Saldanha, and I'm the host of the Save the Popcorn podcast, available on all platforms. Today on this channel, I'm going to be talking about an anime that I watched when I was around 5 or 6 years old. I haven't actually watched a lot of animes in my life. I would say in the past 20 years, I've watched around 3 of them. But I did watch this one anime when I was 5 years old called Slam Dunk. This was a basketball-based manga that actually ran from 1990 to 1996, and the anime ran from 1993 to 1996, so way before my time. But I used to watch reruns of this show when I was growing up. In fact, I watched so much of this show that I actually learned how to play basketball just by watching this one anime, and I ended up becoming a basketball player all through my primary and middle school. So I thought it would be fun to revisit the first episode of this anime and see if the humor still stands up.
I'm very sorry, Hanamichi, but I really prefer Oda from the basketball club.
Right, so from the first scene itself, the very first scene of the entire TV show, you are introduced to Hanamichi, who is the protagonist of our show. And Hanamichi is actually an anti-hero, which I thought was pretty progressive for a 90s cartoon or anime. So Hanamichi is not the typical protagonist that you see in any usual cartoon or anime. He doesn't have a lot of likable qualities. In fact, the only likable qualities he does have is the fact that he's kind of funny. I mean, this is a 90s anime, so when I say funny, I mean slapstick comedy type of funny and not actual humor. So as a kid, watching Hanamichi, get into all sorts of trouble was extremely funny. He was this tall, red-headed guy who was always getting rejected by girls. Like, that was his shtick, that he was always being rejected. In fact, I think this is his 100th rejection, and that's why this particular scene stands out, because that's the first scene of the entire TV show. And this blew my mind as a 5-year-old, because back then I was reading a lot of Archie comics, and Archie was this red-headed kid with freckles and pimples that all the girls wanted. So in my mind, I was like,
wait, so if Archie has red hair and freckles and pimples and he has not one but two girls after him, why was Hanamichi getting rejected all the time? And so this confused me a lot as a kid.
What was that?
Yeah, so Hanamichi has this really weird fetish for headbutts. Whenever he's annoyed with someone, he always has the urge to headbutt them. I mean, they do a lot of headbutts on this show. It's prominent. Very prominent.
It looks like spring has come outside, but it's winter in my heart.
Yup, Hanamichi is an emo romantic.
So, do you like to play basketball?
She's just my type.
Alright, so that's the introduction of Haruko Akagi, who is basically Hanamichi's love interest throughout the entire show. And she's this basketball player whose brother, Takanori, is the captain of the basketball team. And so we'll get to him a little bit later. He's quite a character himself. Hanamichi immediately falls for this girl, and he realizes that in order to impress her, he needs to just say yes to whatever she says. And so he immediately gets this idea into his head that he's going to now try out for the basketball team.
You're pretty tall, aren't you? I was wondering if you're taller than Kaida. Well, my name is Haruko Akagi. So do you like to play basketball?
Sure I do. I'm an athlete, you know.
Also, she seems to mention someone called Kaida, who she compares to Hanamichi. Kaida is my favorite character in this entire show. We'll get to see him a little bit later too, but there is no one cooler, literally no one cooler in this entire high school or in this entire plot that is cooler than Kaida. I always wanted to be him when I was growing up, which is kind of cringe, but...
Back in junior high school, we used to get into a whole heap of trouble if we left any balls lying around on the court like this. Oh, I didn't tell you that I used to belong to a basketball club, did I?
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a subtle way of showing off.
Here's Haruko Akagi. Cut in layup shot.
So she proceeds to, mention that she was part of the junior high school's basketball team, and then that happens.
I don't really have good control of my muscles. That's why I'm not joining the basketball club at this school.
Yeah,
That's why you're not joining.
Imagine that being your excuse for like everything. I don't have good control in my muscles. What does that even mean? Who pays attention to the control that they have over their muscles? I'm going to start using that as an excuse to everything whenever someone asks me to do something and I don't feel like doing it. I'm just going to say that I don't have control over my muscles.
I've been watching my brother play basketball since I was a kid.
There it is again. She mentions her brother yet again. At this point, you probably would think that her brother is like this intense basketball player who's a no nonsense authority figure, and he's this alpha male type of god. She's hyping him up a lot.
Hanamichi, do you know how to dunk?
Mm-hmm.
A dunk is a basketball attack shot. It's the most exciting and popular throw in a basketball match.
Right, so Haruko decides to start teaching Hanamichi some basketball, and in turn teaches us, the audience, how to play basketball as well. Throughout the show, every other episode, I would say, they keep giving tips on how to play basketball. Like, they explain the rules, they give tips on how to dunk, how to do layups, and that's what I meant when I said that I learned how to play basketball by watching this show. Every time there was an interval, they would give a different tip. Like, in Death Note, they keep giving information on what the rules of the Death Note are. So the same concept here, but instead of, learning how to kill someone, you learn how to play basketball.
All you have to do is smash a ball straight through this ring. You have to jump up as high as you can.
Okay. Alright, let's see what Hanamichi's got. Let's see what his first shot is gonna be like.
Here it goes! A slam dunk! Oops.
That was fantastic, Hanamichi. You missed the basket, but you jumped so high. Now you have to join the basketball club. You have to. You must.
Imagine that being a good thing. Imagine you're playing this high intensity basketball game, maybe your college versus another college, and then you go in for a slam dunk and you miss the basket, but you jumped really high. And then they give you an award for, the highest jumper. Yeah, so maybe Haruko's not that great of a coach, but then she does a good job of encouraging him to work on his basketball. So I'll give her that.
I can't believe it. The savior has come. This guy's gonna rescue our school basketball team.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on that.
Dear too.
Really? You don't say. Yes.
Right, so that's the first time we ever see Kaida, who, as you know, is my favorite character. Just a sliver. We don't get to see him, right? We are not worthy enough to see Kaida right now. We as the audience need to be trained in order to understand and perceive the greatness of Kaida Rukawa, the greatest character in any anime ever of all time.
You really think a girl like her doesn't have a boyfriend? Who could ignore someone like her? Mito's right.
She has to have a boyfriend.
What are you doing there?
I think that guy Kaeda is her boyfriend.
Kaeda is just a guy.
What? So, tell me, what does Kaeda mean to you?
It's a one-way love.
Whoa, so now we find out that Haruko, who's Hanamichi's love interest, has feelings for Kaida, who's the greatest anime character of all time, as I keep mentioning. Now you get to really see the power dynamics between Hanamichi and Kaida. And to be honest with you, this was really funny to watch. We always talk about comedy duos in sitcoms and comedy movies. This duo of Hanamichi and Kaida, this rivalry between them, it brought some really funny moments to the show.
Is Hanamichi here? What are you doing here?
Don't worry, Teach. We'll be leaving soon.
Hanamichi, you know why we're here, don't you? Be on the roof after school, and don't run away. Get out of here now, okay? He heard what you said! Hey, man, who do you think you're talking to? I'll kick your butt!
What kind of high school is this? Like a bunch of third-year students just barge into a classroom declaring war on another student while the teacher's standing right there, and then he slams his weapon on the desk. Like, where is this high school located? What's happening? Ooh, this is the part where we finally get to see Kaida Rukawa. Imagine walking up to the roof of your high school to prepare for a fight and you see a guy just sleeping there. That is the alpha move, just sleeping on the terrace underneath the hot sun, without a care in the world. That's what Kaida is. He is the true alpha male.
Hey, what are you doing here? Get away while you can. Did you just kick me?
Who do you think you are?
Kaeda Rukawa, I'm in the first year. Don't you ever disturb my sleep again. Do you guys understand me?
Don't you ever disturb my sleep again. You guys gotta move away. Why gotta disturb a man's sleep? It's completely normal for anybody to sleep on top of the roof, right? Right, anyway, the first episode ends right over there. I thought it was a great episode. I thought it was a good way to finish, just with Kaida's face and his last dialogue and stuff like that. We didn't get to see Haruko's older brother, who's also the captain of the basketball team, just yet. I think we'll see him in the next few episodes. But yeah, it's a fun episode to watch, and it's still as enjoyable as it was for me watching it the first time. It's been like 15 years and it's still mildly pleasant and still quite enjoyable. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed taking the trip down memory lane with me and watching this iconic first episode of Slam Dunk. If you guys liked the video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications and all that good stuff. Make sure to check out my podcast, Save the Popcorn Podcast. Links will be available in the description below. And I'll see you in the next video.